Oh my gosh. So I already started once and talked for like 20 minutes. And then I was just like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. I just had to stop. I was like, I feel so scattered. I feel really, really weird. And so, I'm probably going to do the same thing and just be scattered while I talk. So anyways, and my fucking car's become haunted. I mean, it was one thing when it was like filling up with water and I can't find the leak. I can't find why is it filling up with water. And now it seems like, oh yeah, then the back door, the hatch thing to the station wagon, then it's all of a sudden what did it do first? It wouldn't open. It just shut and it wouldn't open. Nothing I would do won't open. And so then all of a sudden I was driving, I don't know, a couple months ago, and all of a sudden it just popped open. Just opened while I'm driving. I'm like, what the fuck? And so then it started doing this back and forth thing. And now today it started with the hazard light. The hazard lights just keep coming on. Just for no reason. Just all of a sudden come on. I even went out and took that fucking hazard light thing off. Still keeps doing it. I have no fucking idea. It's got to be some kind of electrical short or something. It's like, I do not have the fucking money to go up there to the mechanic and have him run through a bunch of stuff. All my money is going to this goddamn surgery. Like, that's it. And all I got to do is get to Seattle. Well, I've got to go. I don't have to go back to the, I mean, I would be able to make it to the food bank without going next week, but I would rather go get some more meat for Stella if there is any, especially if there's the chicken legs, because I was able to make that last for a few days. So if I could get something else like that, so I probably still will go up there Tuesday and try and get that. But then I don't have to go anywhere until I go to the surgery thing. And if the hazard lights are fucking going, if my windows are going up and down and water is going, splashing out, my doors are open, I don't give a fuck. I'm getting to that goddamn surgery. That is my fucking... Tomorrow I do my last pre-op appointment. Tomorrow's the doctor one. And then next Wednesday, pay the last payment. And then it's just a few days and then I'll be done. And then, well, I'll start with at home stuff. But oh my god, I just feel like it's gonna feel like such a relief off my chest. Like I feel like I'm gonna feel so much pressure off my chest. And I don't know if it's just all in my mind, but you know, like they ache, that it shoots pains down my arm into my fingers and stuff. It's like, ugh, you know, to not have stuff like that you just kind of adapt to. And it's like, oh my god, it's gonna be so nice. So anyways, I can't wait. And whatever goes down, like I gotta get there. I fucking have to get up and take the bus the day before. Like that would be weird. That would be awkward. Taking the bus home, like fuck. And plus, it would take probably. Oh, I don't even know. I don't even think I could get. Well, I think you have to get like a bus to go to like the airport or something. I don't think there's just buses going to Seattle. Like, I bet you it would take like all fucking day. So, I don't know. I've just got to get my car and keep going. Or a hitchhike or something. I don't fucking know. But I'm not letting any of this stuff get my way. I'm just going to keep on fighting back. Keep going out there pulling the fucking hazard light off. So, that whole thing. And then the thing in Wyoming too with that Cody character. So now the governor has come out and he's gone against Cody and said they're going to take more action, that this isn't okay. Wyoming doesn't believe in this, animal cruelty and all of that. So that guy's going to get more charges, thank God. And then, and I don't know if you even saw about the girl who threw her kids out the moving car after she stabbed her boyfriend. And today somebody put a picture of her up and she's super pretty. And they said something about, you know, because it must have been something that she had posted or something, like it's all about looks. I mean, I don't think she said that, but she could have had that kind of account because she was real pretty like that. And so she probably had people who were following her just because of that. And so somebody had said something about, you know, looks and shallowness or something like that, because what she did in the seriousness of the crime. So you can look at her and think, oh, she's so pretty, but she's obviously very troubled. That's the thing, is people are so surface. All they do is look at somebody and just see the surface. They don't even consider, you know, that you're different than how they assume you are by how you look. And so it's not a surprise that there'll be probably more of those kinds of things where it's like, it's to wake people up. It's to get people to think. It's to get people to see, like, you know, looks don't matter. Look at that, this beautiful girl, and she had 2 kids and a husband or a boyfriend, and then she got mad at him, killed him, then took her 9-year-old and her 9-month-old and was driving in the road. The 9-year-old's holding the baby, and then the woman just opened the door and shoved him out. And then, I don't know, it's weird because I thought that they were saying that the 9-year-old fell, as she fell out, she dropped the baby, and the baby got hit by a car, and the baby died, but the girl was in the hospital. But then somebody showed a video of the little girl, the baby, in the hospital, and they're both 9. One's 9 years and one 9 months. So I don't know the whole facts on it. I just know that the girl, you know, she was obviously troubled and covered it up with makeup. You know, it's like how our society has become. It's like, oh, I'll just put a filter on. Nobody will know. Nobody will know I've got problems. And the one girl, too, who today she did a video. She didn't use a filter. And she was very much like, you know, confused about what's going on. And then plus, you know, people who see themselves as psychic, or, you know, they see ghosts and stuff like that. They think they are all like connected to the spiritual world, but they're not connected into like a high vibration, because they're in like a low vibration, because they're focused on like division and stuff like that, and arguing, and who's the bad guy and who's the good guy. And it's always the, you know, their group's always the good guy. And so and right now, see, this is when you're going to become super uncomfortable. Everybody's going to become super uncomfortable. And one thing I just saw was, and this was really making me feel like, man, it is like the energy is going wild. And this one girl said she got some weird text from her mom. She goes rushing over there, and her mom starts screaming and yelling at her, tells her to go. She thinks her mom's like trying to commit suicide. She goes out in the car. Her husband starts calling her and telling her that she's cheating on him in the car with somebody, and keeps calling back. Like, she is like screaming and freaking out, like, what the fuck is going on? And there's like this energy, and people can't handle facing themselves. They can't handle feeling these certain feelings that are coming up, and people are being forced to face things that they don't want to face. And that is going to be where there's going to be mass suicide over it too. So the what was the other one? I saw something else I was going to say about facing, because you got to be willing to look at yourself and face yourself and question yourself, and, you know, be willing to try and fix yourself. And but the people are they're lost in ego, because like, oh my God, oh, I'm telling you, because like she thinks that she's on the right side, but when you're awake and you're sitting back and you're watching, you can see like, no, you're not on the right side. So I'm not surprised when I hear her start saying, I'm so uncomfortable. Is anybody else feeling this? Like, I don't know what's going on. I feel, and she starts explaining stuff, and then not wearing the makeup or not putting on the filter, because people are going to feel more and more phony. I have noticed that some people, once they start feeling that, they stop using it, because it makes you feel too uncomfortable. and too phony. And then you've got people who will keep calling people out. And I just saw this one video of this girl, and she was, you know, she was definitely not beauty standard beautiful or anything like that. Most people would probably say she's unattractive. That other girl who was getting bashed a week or two ago, now she's like becoming popular. I just saw her live. She keeps going, getting her hair done, doing makeup. Like, she's all into whatever she created. You know, these people who came in and was like, you're beautiful, you're great and stuff. So she's got a community. So this girl probably will get one too. But so she was doing a video saying like she wants to get a boyfriend, and she's in South Carolina or North Carolina, and her teeth are real jacked up. And I feel bad because that really is something that people are really mean to people about their teeth. And they make teeth super expensive for people, and they give, poverty has got such bad tooth hygiene. And plus, I saw a guy the other day who, he said he hasn't brushed his teeth since he was 8 years old. Never has brushed his teeth since he was 8 years old. And he was explaining how you put that detergent on there and you scrub them a couple times a day. You scrub all the enamel, all the protection off. And he was like, he's never had a cavity, never had anything. And you think about like the tribe people, like that is where I was seeing these tribe people have the best teeth, and they don't brush them. They chew on some kind of leaf, and that's like the saliva and stuff. Like your mouth, everything in you is meant to fix itself. They are the ones who sell us on, you know, doing all of this stuff. And you know, they're always selling like brush your dog's teeth, and I keep not doing it, and I keep thinking, well, why? I mean, in nature, who are we going out and brushing the squirrels' teeth? Are we pulling over, getting the porcupines? Are we chasing deers down and stuff? It's like, I think nature has I'm sure do. And you know what I also noticed Stella doing? Because there's a whole thing about our DNA and stuff going through our urine, and it, like there's people who drink their urine to fix their health issues. Like it's like it processes your health stuff, and then you drink it and it fixes it or something. Like there's people who've done it. So it sounds crazy, but it's being done. And but what I noticed is, because you know, Stella goes out and walks around and stuff, and dogs, when they go potty outside, it's because they're leaving their DNA for other dogs to smell. It's not because they just, you know, want to poop. They are very particular on the smells there, and who they're reaching out to. Like, it's a whole thing. And so, but she likes to go out, especially at this time of year, which is not very much of it, but this grass starts growing, and she's particular over which grass. And I don't even know which ones. I can kind of see them. They're like kind of like more stringy, but she eats them like a, I don't know, like a hippopotamus or something. She goes up and she pulls all this stuff off, and she'll just stand out there doing it, and she'll go crazy sniffing around looking for this grass. And the other day I saw that she had found some, and she ate a couple pieces, and then she kept sniffing it like she wasn't happy about something, and then she went and peed on it. I was like, see, this is what dogs do. They will pee, and this is a natural thing. They'll pee on that, and then at some point in a couple weeks or whatever, something will grow that will be something that her DNA told the earth that it needed, and that will come out in that plant, and she will eat that plant. And I was thinking, I bet you that there is a whole thing, like if we had a garden, I bet you when we went out and peed on our garden, that it would grow stuff that would cure our ailments. Like, it seems weird and stuff, but I bet you that it's been a practice before in some kind of civilizations, because it's got to be real. Like I see Stella do this kind of stuff, and it's like, man, I bet you like if we understood more about our functions and being in harmony with, you know, living naturally, like this shift that we're going into, And all of this stuff is just to like look at it differently. I'm not saying we all need to go out and plant a garden and everybody run and pee on it or something. But, you know, I think that there's probably something to it. Because even when I had seen something about, and I know I talked about this before, but like if you're going to plant beans in your garden, and you're supposed to suck on the dry bean, you can just take dry beans. Like I've got a bunch of beans. Oh, I should do that. And then you suck on the beans, and then you go out and plant them, and they will grow exactly to the DNA specifications that you need. Like, and last year I didn't get a lot. I did that with all my beans, and then I had some beans grow, but I didn't get a whole bunch. But I did cook them and eat them, so I would assume that they gave me something I needed. But you know, those kinds of factors could be like how we anti-age, how we, you know, go in reverse, how we become healthier and stuff. And some of the things are going to be like strange or outside the box. And it doesn't mean like you have to go sit down on your plants or something. Like you could pee in a bucket and then take the bucket out and pour it on the plants. And I swear, even as I say that, I fucking swear to God, I have seen it somehow. It's like I can see it. It's like I feel like it's like these peasants or something who did that. Like, I don't know. Maybe I've heard, I don't know. But I bet you that it's real. And, okay, let me think. That just threw me. Seeing the, like this certain period of time. So let me think for a second. So there is a way to like work with nature, with our bodily fluids, so that nature can read what it is we need, so it can produce and give us back what we need. So I think there's something all to that. There's, I don't know if I already said this, like one thing that I keep seeing over and over. Oh yeah, did I finish about that lady? Because about the people who, especially people who are out there, they're like, she's in fear, you know, I mean, she's always like, the liberals are bad, we gotta vote, we need to try, like these certain parameters, you know, so we can have a good life. And then very divisive. And so, but it's playing a role because it's waking a lot of people up. But it is like she doesn't see like that she's living in fear and looking for a savior, and that there's nothing to fear. And that as soon as you let go of everything that scares you, it will go away. But it's not going to go that way, you know. I mean, it does for the people who are awake. I don't think that there's going to be nearly as scared as other people. I think it's going to be a lot of, I mean, shit, things could go and then it could be like, oh, I didn't even know. But the people it's supposed to affect, it will affect. The people are supposed to wake up from it, they'll wake up from it. And so I feel like that some of the people are going to have really bad things happen. But it's, you know, to wake them up, to get them to see things differently. And so there's like certain people who like I keep like watching to watch how this plays out. And so for her now to be saying like, oh, I'm getting uncomfortable, like I feel like something's weird and I don't know what it is, and she's hopeless. She's reached this point of hopelessness. Like she's like, she doesn't see how anything can get better. She doesn't see why she should even keep doing her account. Like she feels like very weird, like there's like a definite shift in how she's acting. And so that is the kind of stuff like I'm always watching, like how the energy is shifting around and how it's affecting the people, especially when they're of a certain energy, and then it shifts how it's going to go. And, you know, and it was all the way back in 2016 or I'm pretty sure it was 2016. it could have been 2015. It seems like 2015 was my dark night. 2016 was when I started having so many weird things happen. But that is when I think it was that I started seeing all of this stuff that was going to start happening to the people. And I started telling my kids, and that's when they started thinking I was so crazy. But I could see it. And my guides were telling me, because I had lost everything. I'd gone through just so much stuff. And they told me that that's what was going to happen to everybody now. Everybody had to go through that. And so, and then I had seen about how it was going to cause so much chaos, and how it was going to cause so much pain, that there was going to be parents who were going to kill their kid, like huge, like all the stuff that keeps happening, like I could see it. And that is how I saw that once this occurs, this thing happens, and that there's going to be so many people who are going to kill themselves because they can't get over this hump of being mad at themselves. And today I had this strange experience. I woke up at midnight, and I was just laying. It might have been before midnight. As I was laying there, I was like, God, what time is it? This is so weird. Why am I just fucking laying here awake? And still was just snoring her head off. And so I was trying to be quiet, because I didn't want her to get up and start being like, okay, go outside, let's eat, let's do this. Like, oh my God, I'm not ready for that. And so I was laying there for a while, and then I decided to check my phone to see what time it was. And then I checked the messages, and I had some messages, and I had an email from somebody, and they were asking to talk to me. And I've had this happen a lot of times. And I haven't talked to anybody on the phone before. I've only emailed or texted. No, not texted. I've only emailed or in comments. And so it was making me nervous. It's weird, because one thing is like when somebody's saying they want to talk to you, then it's like, okay, but really? Like, because you can get like on, is this my ego? Is this like, oh, somebody needs to talk to you? Or is it some kind of psyop? And, because I've already got like the Secret Service and stuff that already watches me. So, and then you don't know if it's going to be like some kind of gang stalking. And then the closer we get to this, there's certain accounts, they want to keep them in the dark. They don't want people to wake up and think outside the box. They don't want people to listen to stuff I say. And so then thinking, because I have had a bunch of different people throughout this different times, telling me like, don't talk about that, don't talk about this, where it's like, that is so weird. I've never gone in and told somebody what to talk about. Like, why would somebody do that? And so it always seems weird. And so then after it's happened a bunch of times, then you start questioning it, like, is this kind of like they put people out to like befriend you, but then they're really there to handle or like guide you, like to bully you into submission or something, and get you to do certain things. And so, and I know that goes on. I do know that does happen. And so, when she was saying she wanted to talk to me, it starts right away. I start getting triggered, like, oh my gosh, like, is this going to be some kind of a trap? Is this even a real person? You start going through all this stuff in your mind. And then I'm glad that I ended up talking to her. But what was really weird going up to talk to her too was, because at first it was like, well, we'll try WhatsApp. So I put on the WhatsApp, and after I did, and she had sent a number, and I pushed it to dial it, and then it didn't put the country code, and so I hung up. And then when I hung up and I pushed on her thing with the country code, and then it said I was creating spam, and they took my account. And so then I was like, okay, this is weird. And so then it said I was in 24-hour review, so I couldn't use the WhatsApp. And so I was like, okay, that's strange. So then she sent me a link to a Zoom. And so I would click on the link and it would take me to download the app. I would push in to download the app. And every time I would download it, it would circle back and make me do it again. And circle back. It wouldn't go past that. It kept, say, download the app, you push OK, and then it would go back and start over again. I was like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? And then I started feeling like, okay, so either this energy is trying to stop me from talking or something. There was some kind of interference. So then she said, well, you can talk on it through Instagram. And so then you can call other countries through Instagram. And so I went on there. And so then we talked for a long, long time. And she said a bunch of stuff where I felt like, for one thing, I was getting lots of confirmation about things. And then like things that I say or whatever. So I was getting lots of confirmation. And I was really glad that I talked to her. And I was learning lots of stuff. Like she was giving me a lot of more details about stuff like what's going on. Like over there and where are you going? Why don't you just come here and lay down, Stell? I don't want to get up and start doing in and out. No, come and lay down. So just goes, I can get up. Like, I swear to God, she'll start that shit. And it's like every few minutes. Go, just lay down. And she'll go out. She'll try and get comfortable. She can't get comfortable. And she'll come cry back in. And I know her leg is hurting. And then the other one, the sore had come back. And so then I was like, damn it. And then I soaked it again in Epsom, and now it opened again. And all this new pus came out. But now it seems like it's more flattened. So I don't know. We'll see if this time, if it heals. And I'm going to get more of the horse paste. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like the horse paste may be the better way to go. So it's like I can't figure out, like, how to get rid of these cysts and stuff. It's like, fuck, we try all this different stuff. But anyways, so there was some things that she had said that had given me confirmation about stuff that I had said. One of the things was, and I've talked about this, is like she was, because this was like a few different things. So let me see. Because it was like she had been watching me for a couple months, and that then she felt like she was kind of mad at herself, like, I wished that she would have found me sooner. And that is something that I have said before, because everything is about timing. And I have said that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be upset that they didn't know this stuff sooner. I mean, one thing that is important to realize too is when I started this, like Vortex, I think, is one of the only people who's been with me the whole time, who's still around. But I don't know. There could be somebody who hasn't talked in a long time in comments, and they could say, oh, I'm still here. So I don't know. But there was, it was like 10 people in the start for a long time. And because it wasn't meant to be that time. It wasn't, nobody was, no, I'm not going to say nobody was meant to find me. There were certain people who were meant to find me. But it wasn't, everybody wasn't meant to find me at that time. And that was something my guides had told me, because it was very confusing to me, because I was doing what they had asked me, and I wasn't getting views, and I wasn't, I thought because I was doing what they had asked, that it was going to be like, oh, look at that, it'd blow up. And so I was so confused. And they had, made it clear to me there's a certain timing. And like right now, this is kind of like the ending of the timing of the people who have been in panic. Like I said, that one girl, she's like, I'm so confused. I'm just like, it's like the shift is happening. And so everybody was focused on, like, there's still a huge focus on everything that's wrong. But that's going to shift. And then it's going to shift. When it shifts into people wanting to heal themselves, wanting to understand more things and stuff, that's when it will shift, where there will be a whole bunch more people. Then people who have found me sooner will feel like, oh, look, we found her way sooner, because there's going to be so many, but there's going to be so many people who are going to feel that same way. Like, you know, where were these people? Like, I had no idea what was going on. Where were these people? But that is where you got to realize that you were supposed to find these people, like me or whoever, at the time that you find them. There's no finding them ahead of time. And like I said, there's only a few people who had found me. And I know that there's a reason for all that. And, you know, it's still waiting to see, like, the whole thing play out. But yeah, it was very, very few people who found me in the beginning. And so, you know, it's been, you know, a part of my stuff. But, and I've had to go through and learn and understand, like, you know, how you're doing this, and you just keep getting held back. But that is, because it's about timing, and the timing's coming, this certain time, this shift. And then when everybody like changes their focus, and then, you know, accounts like mine are going to make a lot more sense. People who are saying things that are too weird to a lot of people, then they're going to be a lot more open and a lot more wanting to hear. But there's going to still be this part, because she was having that, like, you know, I wish I would have seen this sooner. I wish I would have figured this sooner. But I wish I would have understood this sooner and stuff. But that is where you can't get stuck on the thing, because everything happens at the right time. And you can't make things happen sooner. It's not supposed to happen sooner. It's supposed to happen right when it happens. But you have to come into peace with it. And, you know, and I think, like, there's a part of, like, where people think that they have to be so perfect. Like, everything has to be perfect. You have to know everything and be everything and all that stuff. But no, it's like, you got to learn how to accept yourself for not being perfect. You don't have to know everything. And when there is people who come across your thing with new information, to not be mad that you didn't find them sooner, to be like, this is the exact right time I was supposed to find them. And so then there's more to it. Like, you know, what am I supposed to be learning now? What am I, like, there's a whole thing about timing. Like, probably even what I'm talking about is something that somebody needed to hear right then. And so then they start listening, and then it's their timing. But there's going to be this big shift that's going to happen, where it's going to be a whole bunch of people are going to all of a sudden be, you know, wanting to know more. And so anyways, I just wanted to make sure, because there's going to be more people coming, and they're going to feel the same way as she's feeling. Like, I wish I would have figured it out sooner. I wish I would have understood sooner. I wish I would have known what people were talking about sooner. Like, but you get focused on fear, then it distracts you. And so that was like a confirmation to me when she was saying that stuff, like, because that is exactly how I keep seeing it. That people are focused on what scares them instead of the awakening. And it takes time to get to the part, to let go of all the things that scare you, to get to the part where you're focused on your awakening and trying to understand, you know, what you're doing here. Why are you here? What are you doing? What's happening? And why do all these things keep happening to people? And they're definitely pushing the storms as climate change storms. Like, they've got videos going now. Oh, climate change. Well, look what it's doing. So, you know, but that is all going to fall apart. Like, all their shit is going to fall apart. Nothing is going to follow through. Like, it's all just, it's like a staged event. And they can't go forward. And there was something else I was seeing in my head when I was saying something about that. The people, see, what was that? There's more weird stuff, like more weird stuff at schools, more weird stuff with teachers. Like, I can't believe how many teachers are, like, there's a teacher now who, she was trafficking her students and her son. So she's gotten busted. Another woman who was, I think she was a cashier or something, or went somewhere and pretended to be 14 and she's 23 so she could sleep with 14-year-olds. So she went to pretend like she was 14. Like she's busted and she's confused. She don't even know why. It's like, what's the big deal? It's like you're 23 and they're 14. But there's more with teachers. There's more stuff with schools. There's more stuff. All these things are just going to keep blowing up and being unsettled. Like seeing videos of people crying like they're going to try and get their kid out of school for an appointment and the school won't let them leave. It's like this kind of stuff is to get people to realize like, fuck, they can't control us like this. So, you know, these situations are going to keep playing out in the news. And, oh yeah, so it was a weather anomaly that's coming. This is weird. I can look for the video and see if I can put it in the comments. Now, you've got a lot of people, because you got all these people focused on all different things. And so you have some people who are focused on the weather maps. And so I'm not even sure what this guy was looking at. So he was looking something with the Antarctica or something. And he found right outside of it, there's this big, while he was looking, because if you follow the patterns or something on some of these maps, it will move forward. So you'll see how where the storm moves to, how it moves around and stuff. And so he was looking at this thing, and this big black, huge black thing, like, fuck, it looks like the size of Greenland or something, all of a sudden pops up at the Antarctica. Giant black thing. And it says that its waves are 65 feet high. And so he's like, what the hell is this? And he's like, where'd this come from? Like, and so he starts following it. So it's starting today. And it's like over the next 5 to 7 days. I think he went up to 7 days. And so he went as far as you could go. But so how it's going to move, this giant ass thing. So it's moving from Antarctica. It's going over to Africa. And so right now it's moving over towards Africa. That's where it's going to go first. When it goes over to Africa, and it's fucking huge. Like it fills in the gap when you're looking at the map between Africa and whatever country it's across from. It fills all this in. So it goes around the Africa border until it hits the Atlantic. Once it gets into the Atlantic, it starts crossing and goes across, and it's going to hit the East Coast next week. And it looked like, what is today? Today's Thursday. So I think it's going to hit the East Coast like Monday. Maybe Sunday or Monday. So there must be some fucking weird ass storm, because he kept looking and he said all of this, because it's black, it's total black. And it says in there that the waves are 35 to 65 feet in this system that is moving around, where he's like, where did this system even come from? It looks more like a spaceship came out from under the ground and came up and is moving around or something. Like it's really weird looking. And, so once it goes over and hits the East Coast, like that could be like, fuck, 65-foot waves hitting into New York or something. Like, I don't know. You know, we'll have to just watch and see. And even if it starts going and devastating into Africa, are they going to turn around and tell us? Because they don't want people to panic and try and evacuate and stuff. They just want them to die. And then there's going to be some events that there's going to be a lot of fucking death. And after this all goes down, there's going to be a lot of fucking suicide. And it's all going to be because people cannot handle facing themselves. The feeling of not being smart enough, not catching on, not seeing what other people saw. It's going to feel like humility, embarrassing, shame, ignorance. Like they're going to feel horrible. And it's going to be too much. And there's going to be a lot of people who are going to do themselves in because they can't take the pain. And there's, and that's, you know, that's once the shift happens, and that is going to be a lot of people. It's going to take strong people to push through that energy and learn how to accept themselves. learn how to be kind to themselves. And that's the only energy that goes forward. See, if you can't do it, you're leaving the game anyways. So you like, this is to promote these things, but like, I just don't know, like with each person, like where you see some of these people like who've been pushing this negativity, and then they're feeling so uncomfortable. And then when it switches, that remains to be seen. Like, out of all these different people, who will be able to push through, who will be able to find healing and accepting themselves and loving themselves, because that's what it's all about. You got, you know, it's easy to love yourself when you think you've done nothing wrong, but you got to learn how to love yourself when you aren't doing everything perfect. Like, being able to be perfect and not do things wrong is an illusion. Like, you, or it is probably more of the common way of living in the heavens. Everything's perfect, you know, you don't have to worry about anything. But down here, you have to adapt. You have to be able to adapt to your environment. And, like, man, there's a lot of stuff. There's, another thing with the videos, and I don't know if I already said this one, was all these women with the hair stuff. Like, these expensive fucking, like, women going and spending $250 on a hair thing. Way more than that even. Like, the one woman who had spent, oh, she didn't spend any. Her thing was $1,800 and she took off. But how many hair disasters? Oh my God, the whole hair industry thing, salons and stuff, all of it is blowing up. And this one lady, she, her hair got jacked up, and she did a complaint in the, she had a big account, and so it got a lot of attention. And so the salon owner got really pissed and started trying to say things and stuff to the woman. But the, and she had left some kind of review or something. And, what was it? I was going to say, oh, because, it caused a ruckus or whatever. And so some other employee had called her and told her that their license is under review. They don't even have a proper licensing. And that probably, the woman that she had doing their hair probably doesn't even have a license. That's probably why she has gotten messed up on her licensing, because she probably hires people that don't have their license in order. Like, there's all sorts of stuff. But so the woman whose salon it was has all these issues, and, you know, people don't know. And then they go and pay these huge amounts, and their hair gets jacked up, and then they say something, and the salon's just like, oh, well. I can't believe how many videos I've seen of this. It's wild. And how many of these women, you know, keep taking off their hair, their fake hair, and in their hair is like short, and they just want to put their hair back on and not care for their hair. They don't see the importance of their hair at all. They just see everything is fake, fake, fake. You know, it's more important to have fake long hair than to have healthy hair that you take care of. And so all those kinds of things are going to keep falling apart. There's going to probably be way more women whose all their hair is going to fall out, because they've got to learn to respect their hair. That their hair has a point. There's a purpose. Like, everything about us, there's a purpose for it to be there. It's not by accident. What you look like isn't by accident. It has to do with your ancestry and your connection, and like, everything has to do with something. And so there's just, I don't know, just like this like stagnation of Walmart shoppers or something, that everything has to, is like this, it's like you got to go out of the norm or something. You've got to go past. I was like, see, again, I keep getting these things where I was like, what am I talking about? Did I even finish what I was talking about? What was I talking about? I don't fucking know. Like, I feel weird. I feel so weird. There was, let me think if there was, because it was like I saw so many videos that I thought were so strange. There's one where all these, I don't know, it looks like 1 billion jellyfish washed up on the shore. I don't even know where the hell that is. And there's another one where a river started in the desert or something and it's full of fish. There's way more stuff with the eclipse. Like, I don't think anybody thinks that the eclipse was real or anything. And then who knows still, like, we still got to see if people were sprayed or whatever. Well, we know that they were sprayed, but if it was with something worse than what we're used to, like, if there was more added in, as we have our regular spraying. And then now there's all fucking things coming out all about how much lead is in all these kid food. And Nestle's has killed trillion people or something, killed trillion kids or something. Like, there's all this stuff with the schooling, the buses, medical. There's one medical trauma after another of people's testimonials. And then people who have ones like just regular people trying to post something about their health and their videos getting taken down. So it's getting all of this stuff about the control and the media. And see, it's got to have some regular accounts. It can't just be people like me who are weird, because we all already were like, well, I mean, I was told in 2020, well, quit talking about weird stuff and you won't get your account taken down. It's like, well, I've got to talk about weird stuff. And I'm going to complain about my account getting taken down because it's corrupt what they do to us, controlling us and stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to complain about it. And, but people who, you know, I don't even think very many people know what I talk about. Like, nobody, I think, that knows me. Nobody knows what I talk about. They just know that I go online and talk, but I don't think anybody knows what I talk about. My kids don't know what I talk about. Even when I've tried to tell them it's about healing and stuff, but they're stuck on this other vision of me that has to do with whatever, all the stuff they start saying about the people who are waking up, extremists and all that kind of stuff. But that's, you know, for them to wake up and see, you know, it wasn't those things. And, but that is what all these different people, so many people have to do this, go through this, is waking up to see the truth, that things weren't what they thought they were. How they looked at people wasn't how those people were. And then, and that is where you got to realize it's your own biases. Your biases come inside of you. And they're created probably from over a whole bunch of different lifetimes. I mean, you could have legit reasons why you are the way you are. Just because you're weird in some way doesn't mean you're crazy. It has to do with some experience you had in some other life. That's why you can't be all judgmental of yourself. You've got to get more into, like, more understanding and more compassion for yourself. It's important to have the compassion for yourself, because if you can't find the compassion for yourself, then you can't find the compassion for others. And we can't unify and become connected when we're sitting back and judging other people as being good or bad. It's one thing to notice behaviors, and, you know, you can call out behaviors. It depends on if it has to do with your boundaries or whatever. But you can call out behaviors and notice it. That's not being judgmental. That is being aware. But when you go into the point where you start saying you're a bad person, you think this way, so you're bad, and go into black and white, good or bad, that is the part where you got to get out of. Thinking like that a person is their action or their behavior. Like, it's kind of like, I remember it was like as a parent or something, there was this part where they kept telling us, like, don't, when you reprimand your child, like, there's been so much training to us this whole fucking time. And, but when you reprimand your child, call out the behavior. Don't tell them they are the behavior. Don't tell them they're bad. Tell them the behavior is bad. And so there was this whole part of learning about that. Fuck, back when my kids were younger. And so, and I don't know if they continued that in teaching people, but that is how you got to get into looking at other people and their behavior, is looking at they aren't the behavior. And to also remember, everybody's here playing roles. And so they aren't even what you think that they are. They're different than what you think they are, because they're playing a role, so you can learn from them and through the experience that you have with them. Because everything is this like crossing paths with people so that you can affect them, so that you can help them bring to the surface whatever it needs to come to the surface. So whatever triggers or things that come up when they interact with you are what's supposed to come up. But, you know, everybody's not there yet. Instead, they just blame the other people. Like, you're making me feel this way. It's like, well, you got to get into the habit of being like, oh, now I feel this way. So let's see where it's coming from. Why do I feel this way? Why am I looking at it this way? And then the more you can go in deeper into that, the more you can heal that and the more you can let it go. And so, but there's so many people who are missing out on that part. But there's still more of that to come. But it's still, there's going to be, in this shift, it's going to be fucking rocky. Because of so many people who are going to feel this humility of feeling like they're embarrassed. They feel so shamed. Like, how could they have been so stupid, especially the way it's going to play out is, and there's a reason why it's playing out this way, is that, you know, there's going to be all these people who are like the black sheep, the people who were the oddballs, you know, the people who were judged harshly by the people that knew them, that they're going to be the ones who knew, they saw. And then it's going to be the people who were all, you know, thought they had it all going on, that they didn't see. And so they're going to be irritated because it's like, you know, how did that idiot see? And I didn't see. Because that's the way it's supposed to go. It's supposed to bring that up in you. You're supposed to be bringing that to the surface. Your ego, you're supposed to see that side of yourself now. Like, how judgmental and hateful. And, you know, like we have so much of that all the time going. I'm having the weirdest day. And, but I made some stuff to eat. And then I turned on this movie to sit down and watch it. And it was this Lifetime movie. And it was another one of these really old ones. And it was another true story. And I was like, oh, man, I always liked these Lifetime movies. Back in the day, it was like they were always putting through these big cases. These things that were changing our laws and stuff. Like these outrageous things that would happen. And this was one of those. And it was a big case that had happened where a Navy guy, the other people on the ship didn't like that he was gay, so they beat him to death. And you know, it has this whole case. And I was thinking, you know, that I always liked Lifetime, you know, and they always were showing all these things. And then I started seeing as like, oh my gosh. They were showing those things to get us to feel a certain way, to get us to be like this social justice, to get us to focus on other people's problems, to get us to like, we can't stand for this. We've got to go out there and make a change. We got to do this and we got to do that. And because I started thinking like, that is why they're showing that. They're leaning us. They're trying to get us to be outraged. They're trying to get us to see something. They're not just entertaining us. They're not just doing it for nothing. And there is so many movies on Lifetime from the 80s and the 90s that were all big cases, big thing. And I still think, I mean, they're constantly putting on big cases. But it's like, oh, that is, because I always liked Lifetime so much. I was like, oh, there's so much manipulation though, because then they can show it exactly the way they want to. And this one's kind of hard because the mom, who's Bonnie Bedelia, and she is like her whole family, they're really religious and they're gay people. Like she keeps saying like queer. She keeps going like, well, he wasn't a queer and stuff like that. She keeps saying stuff like that. It's like, oh my gosh. It kind of brings back those memories of like, oh my gosh, a period of time where there was so much of that. And where this mom wouldn't even see her son. She wouldn't even, I got, because the sister was saying, he tried to tell you, Mom. He tried to talk to you about what he was struggling with, and you couldn't hear him. And she's like, no, there's no way. My son was not born gay or queer. And so it was so weird because it was like such limited ways of people thinking, and how much shame and how much people would look down on her. Oh my God, how much people were like, oh my God, she's got a gay child. Like, it's really weird. And so, if you want to know like what it was like back a certain time and how people really did interact. And I haven't finished the show. I think I saw it a long, long time ago. But, like she went to a memorial and then she's had some other interaction with some other gay guys now who loved her son. Like loved it, thought he was the most wonderful person in the whole wide world. And so now she's having these weird, awkward interactions that are making her feel really uncomfortable because, she just she's not able to like accept this side of her son. And she got his journal because they sent his belongings and stuff. So she was reading his journal. It was all about falling in love with this guy. And it was, very sweet. And so, but it's so wild when you see like, does the own parent think like he deserves this? But she went to say something to the grandma because another sister was like making like this whole humility in front of the family. Like, oh my God, her son, like it's a family shame. There's a gay person in the family. Oh my God, shame upon our family. Hide him in the corner. We don't want anybody to know about him. It's like, oh my gosh. And so they were trying to say it in front of the grandma, like, oh my God, don't say that in front of your grandmother. And I was like, oh my God, I've heard all these kinds of things. And then, so she goes, after she read the diary thing, to talk to the grandma and say, I think he was gay. And the grandma was like, he had value. He was like, it's going to make me cry. It was like, she had to have her mom say it. She had to have her mom tell her. Like man, I don't know. I just know that we've had, our society has been crippled by what other people think. I mean, to not be able to love somebody, not be able to love your kid because you are more embarrassed of what other people think of them. And this girl, I saw this girl on earlier, and this girl kind of made me feel super sad too, because her teeth were all jacked up. And it's so sad is how hateful people are about somebody with jacked up teeth. And her teeth were like, I don't know if they're drug teeth or something, or like they're definitely all broken and like jacked up. And so she was doing a video and she was saying, and it was real up close, like super up close of her face. And you can see right up into her teeth. And she was like saying that she's trying to get a boyfriend. And she's in North Carolina or South Carolina or something. She's trying to get a boyfriend. And so I was curious too. I was like, oh my God, what's the comments? And then you go in the comments and everybody's like saying all these jokes like, oh, I couldn't get to the comments fast enough. And it's like, you feel kind of like a sense of humility. Like, oh my God, here I am, just like them, going to see, like, what is everybody saying? And there was so many people saying such mean things. And, but then there was some other people who were like, you got to focus on yourself and loving yourself. So I did one of those ones, because it really is too. It's like, even though our teeth are jacked up, like this is something that I think that people don't like really get. So say your teeth are jacked, you're overweight, you're not feeling good about yourself, you've never dealt with your trauma. And this is another thing too. I saw a girl who was saying that she had a total humiliation in the doctor appointment, the bullshit the doctor had done to her when she went to talk to him about her hormone balance, because she can't lose weight and she keeps doing all this stuff and she's not losing any weight. And so she was like, there's got to be something wrong. There's got to be hormones or something. And then the treatment of the doctor and stuff. So she was talking about that. And, but the thing is that for one thing, you will hold on to weight when you're holding on to trauma. And so it's super important to go focus on yourself. And like, when you don't feel like you're at your best, that is not when you want to go out and find a partner. Do you want to have a partner that is at that level as you are? When you are, I feel like there was so much time in my life. I don't know. It's like there's a desperation when you can't be alone. And anybody who is like, I was a relationship junkie, going from one to another to another. And people would say stuff to me. And it's like, well, fuck, tell them to quit. God, leave me alone. Like, there was always one coming. And so, but I could have said no. I could have said, no, fuck off, but that is that desperation, thinking that somebody's going to, make you feel better, is going to be the answer to all your problems or something. And so the girl, to me, is like, if you, like, your teeth are jacked, or you can't lose weight, or your hair's falling out, or whatever, the thing to do is to focus on you. The focus on becoming your best self, and maybe it is to get your teeth fixed. Maybe it is like, I have heard from people who have had jacked up teeth like that they started using the minerals and stuff, and their teeth all started repairing. Like, people whose teeth were jacked, who, you can go look up those kinds of things, but those people are out there pushing on using the minerals on your teeth. And I don't know if I had already said about the guy who hadn't brushed his teeth since he was 8 years old. And he was talking about, like, you you take that paste, and then it's like you're removing all of the enamel off of your teeth. That is an abrasive remover of stuff. Like, you shouldn't be using it on your teeth. And he stopped when he was 8, never has any cavity, never had anything with his teeth. And I knew about that stuff, like with tribes and stuff, because I had seen about that they are out there chewing on leaves, and they aren't going and brushing their teeth. Like, there's a whole thing. I think I said it in the other video that I did, but I may have said it in this earlier, but about with nature and brushing their teeth and stuff, that it's like nature has its own way of handling things. And so, but so anyways, even if your teeth are jacked, there's still hope. Because I know that they're pushing hard on getting people to go do the implants, which I wouldn't do them. Like, I already had those ones, and they jacked up my bone. Pus was coming out. Like, my body completely rejected them. And so I wouldn't do them. But, and I don't know, I think it's like putting metal into us, like it's putting a fucking, what are those things, like an antenna into your fucking jaw or something. So they crank up this frequency. It's like, you probably fucking hear things in there. So I wouldn't do it. But they're pushing hard on it, and they're trying to do a good deal. Like, it used to be like $10,000 to get one, and now they're trying to, like, oh, get 5 for $100 or something. I don't know how much. Because there's people who are going to Turkey to get dental work done because it's so expensive here. It's like $8,000 if you want new teeth or something. And so I think really it's more expensive, but they're making all these deals trying to get people to do it. And this one lady, she went to Turkey and did the whole thing for like $5,000 and got all fake. Maybe she got veneers or something. I don't know. It's all fake teeth. And so, but I would try the mineral thing. I would start packing my minerals and on my teeth every night, and I would also do oil pulling. And the oil pulling is supposed to be really, really good too. And so focusing on your own health, focusing on your own weight issues, focusing on getting your hair, everything to be where you feel good about yourself. Not go out and be like, oh, I don't feel good about myself. Is there anybody out, any takers? It's like, no, why do you want one of them? Like, they're not going to add value to your life. They're going to add drama. They're going to have their own issues. Like, there's way too much bullshit. And so the more that you focus on you, just put your time and energy into you, even though it's not what people want to do. People want to go out and find someone to go have fun with. You got to learn how to go have fun with yourself and find friends to go have fun with. Like, you find groups of people who are interested in the same thing as you. Like, you can do meetups or whatever. There's like here in Washington, we have this thing called Meetup that you can go into your community, and there's like all different people. They put up a meetup. It's like, oh, everybody who wants to go to a coffee shop and talk about books, like talk about old movies, and let's all meet and go watch an old movie. Like, there's all these meetups. And so you can get involved and go in and meeting different people, go to cooking classes. You can meet people, different things that you find interesting. If you want to learn how to sculpt, you want to learn how to paint, anything, then you go and you start going and doing those things, and you'll start meeting other people in the classes and where you are. You'll start, that is the energy will start going around you when you go towards you. And so you focus on you. You start focusing on fixing your teeth, fixing your health, fixing your weight, all the things that you want to get to where you feel like you are your prime, like you are fucking rocking it. That is when the person would come in. But in between, you could have a lot of people come. That could be a test run. But when you want to become into alignment with your best self, you have to be working on your best self. You have to be working on putting your best self out there. Not, like, fuck, I'm at my worst. My teeth have all fallen out, 100 pounds overweight, and fucking life sucks, but God, is there anybody who wants to just go date me? Like, oh, that's not, but that's like what our society is like. And so it is so important to really get focused on the you project. Seeing yourself as having value. You're not just some overweight, underskilled person that is just spinning out in space by accident. You're a real person who came here to grow, a real soul who came here to learn, to grow, to expand, to experience. And that's another thing too, is when you are talking about the experience, you can't just be judging it all the time. You have to be more open. Like, what is the life experience? What are you here to experience? What is life all about? Like, there's just so much, or so many things. And there's so much, that people are so negative and hateful and limited. Everybody wants, to keep everything so limited, but this is where you got to keep expanding. And you don't have to find a partner like right now. Like there's a lot of people who are going through this alone, going through this growth period. And I feel like it's like better to go through it alone and then get to the other side where you have grown, you have worked on yourself, you're feeling good, and then you come into alignment with somebody who is in that same range, that vibration. Not somebody who's like, life sucks too, because that is what you're going to pull in. When your life sucks, you're going to pull in more people whose life sucks. And when you are feeling good, you're going to pull in people who are feeling good. Their life's going good. Your life's going, because you're in the same vibration. So it is, I don't know. There's just so much desperation, and people just, it's weird. Just like if somebody looks at you, just like, oh, well, I like the way you look. If you like the way I look, well, maybe we should get married. It's like, what? Maybe we should have kids. It's like that. Our world is going to be changing like so much. People are going to take things so much more serious. And, you know, once we get out of this artificial bullshit where everybody's just like, doesn't give a fuck, things are going to become where people are going to take what they do. They're going to be a lot more mindful, a lot more thoughtful. Like this really will be like a weeding out. The people who can't handle it, but they all get an opportunity to go through the awakening, and then they will be like, "Fuck this! This is fucked, man." And then they'll, you know, take their out. But the people who stay in, those are the ones who are moving it all forward. You know, that's the seeders. And don't forget, like, not everybody has to go in that direction into the age of Aquarius. So even if you see people, you know, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to leave. And that doesn't mean you're not going to see them for a long time. Like they could come be birthed right back into. But I also think that we're not going to be like having babies like we have been here. Like, fuck. People having 10 kids and stuff. I think it's going to become a lot more sacred. A lot more like serious, like you're giving birth to a reality, a human, like you're giving birth to something so much bigger than just like, you know, you're having kids. Like we have not taken it serious enough. And so, and I've heard about that before in other places, in other planets or other spaces, that it is a lot more of a serious thing. They're not just popping out kids because they got nothing to do on Saturday. No, it's like a very thoughtful, like this is a soul I'm bringing into the world. And what is this, you know, we're gonna be doing things way different and helping kids to learn differently and see things differently, take responsibility for themselves, and learning how to understand consequences. Like there's gonna be a lot of how we're gonna change. And so, but all these things have to happen. That's what leads to the change. It's all these things falling apart, all these things of being, you know, disaster after disaster in people's lives, like medical appointments, hair appointments, food things. Like it's just one thing after another, just blowing up, blowing up, blowing up, because it's all ending. And so all of that stuff. And then so you can watch it and see it blowing up, or you can be somebody who's holding on. Oh, I got to get to that hair. Like, you know, I'm trying to go in and get this surgery. And I'm like, so I get it. Like, I'm trying to hold on. I've just got to get there just a little bit further. But then I still got to go through, you know, having the drains in and stuff. I'm going to ask him tomorrow. I'm going to get it all situated so I would know when to take out the drains myself. Because that is what happened when I had the quarantine, like when they had talked me into lasering my eyes, that was going to fix the glaucoma. I would have no other problems. And it's so effective. It just is like, and this doctor, he's like a miracle worker. He's got such a good reputation. It's so great. And so I go in and do it. And they fucking, it was bullshit. Like, man, I swear to God, there's like laser, the whole fucking, they burn the top of your eye off. And so then it sent me home, and then quarantine happened. I couldn't go back and get rechecked. My eyes got worse and worse and worse. I couldn't even go in and get rechecked or anything. And so anyways, so now I'm like, oh my God, go get this procedure, and then they're going to lock us down. I'm going to be in the same kind of situation. I don't know. But anyways, all of these things are blowing up, and it is like you're trying to hold on too tight. It's going to fall apart. And more with the medicines, like there's a lot of weird shit with the medicines going on. There's just so much. I mean, everything in our world is all falling apart because it's the end of it. It's the end of what was, and it's the beginning of something new. But we still have to go through this period of time of like the acceptance It's like that whole, it's like the grief process that people have to go through to get to the point of being ready to, you know, start new, to, but they have to let go of who they were. They have to let go of what they had done with their life so far, the choices they made, how they identified themselves, like who they had formed themselves into being. Because so many people are not their true, authentic self. They're complete fakes. Totally. And it's been kind of like our society accepts that. It's like, it's totally all fine. They kind of prefer fake people over, you try and be real or authentic, people will think you're a fucking weirdo. You go be fake and it's like, oh, look at that. Yeah, like, she's really rocking it, isn't she? Like, God, I don't know. I'm just really not into fake. I just never have really, fakeness really is like, ugh. I'm just not one of those people who, when I see it, it's very cringy. And there's so much of it. It's like, because it's like this highlighted event, you know? So the people who are going in the fake and phony direction, it's like bigger. It's like it's getting bigger. And it's like, I'm going to keep talking about my hair. And like, man, there's so many of these accounts with these fucking crazy ass hair thing. And like no respect for their hair, or, man, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff to wake up to that people are just I don't know. I think I've made it myself clear. I feel like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about today. I swear to God, I feel like I'm so out of it. Now I've been up now it's 4 o'clock. And then I've been up since midnight. So maybe I'm just tired. But I swear to God, I think it's the energy. I feel like everything is really weird. I feel like I am like some sort of a ghost or something. I don't feel real. Like, nothing feels real. Nothing looks real. Nothing feels real. Except for like when Stella cries, that feels real. Then I feel like, oh. So, or certain things that like are cringy when I see just fake people trying to talk other people into being fake, trying to get people to go use all retinols and go get all this, these artificial chemicals and put them on your skin. It's going to cause more problems. And that is part of the aging industry that is just there to make a fortune off of you by trying to convince you that you will age so that you will kill yourself by seeing yourself aging and going into death. It's all a part of their thing of how you, God, that was weird. A face just all of a sudden popped up right here. That was weird. Man, see, things are weird. Fuck, things are weird. Anyways, I don't know. Like, that was so weird. And keep seeing things and seeing things. I don't think there's anything else I have to say. I think I'm done talking. So just remember to love yourself, love everyone, and have a loving day. And I'll talk to you tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be doing better. I'll try and, because I don't know. Maybe I'm not even, I don't know. I don't know anything. Don't even listen to me. I don't know a thing. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.